Good evening. This is Kemi Spracologio. So it is so good to be here today. We're super excited to have you also here. This is the Hangout with a Counselor, where it's a platform where we talk about, have frank conversation about burning topics. So today is the part two of narcissist characters, how to identify a narcissistic character or a person. So you're welcome. For every one of you is available. We are sorry we're coming late today. The network is terrible. And thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Today we have Ejiro. Ejiro will be coming in late, but Nkechi is available. So good evening, Nkechi.
Kemi, good evening. Good evening.
Okay, so we might not be saying Nkechi today, but Ejiro will be live soon. So today we want to talk about the ways of identifying. Last week we talked about identifying a narcissist person. So today we're going to continue from where we stopped. So talk about the ways to go about um, dealing with a narcissistic person. Yeah, so that is what we're doing today. So you're welcome for staying. If you have any question, if you want to contribute to the conversation, the platform is open. We'll be answering your questions today. So, Nkechi, the floor is open.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Um, so sorry we're starting off this way, no camera and all that. I'm in a place where I can't turn on my camera presently. So, sorry for that. And network is bad. It was raining all through, so I guess foggy network also caused us to start behind schedule. I hope you can pardon us for that. Um, anyway, um, the conversation must go on today, so that's why we're here. Um, Today we just want to, we're going to have that last week, before we'll solution, have also with this traits,
Okay,
personality
so
disorder.
before we continue with the ways to deal with a narcissistic person, I want to talk about something that I feel is common. There are things that a person suffering with this trait would always say. One of it is when they tell you, look what you made me do. Because I've had experience with a friend where at every point in time, a partner would always blame her when okay, maybe probably they are in maybe they had a fight or something, and he would always apologize, telling her that, okay, you know what, it's because you made me do it. And I feel it's common for a narcissistic to always say that. They make it look like it is your fault. Then another thing is they tell you about acting crazy. That is a situation whereby they do things when you're alone with them, and when you try to fight back, they make other people make look like this person is crazy after getting into your brain. I've experienced that also. Then another thing is they tell you, oh, okay, you know what, it's because you're overthinking it. Maybe you're trying to tell them this is what they do that you don't like this is part of the things that I've realized that I've seen them say. Like they tell you, oh, you're overthinking it. They've done something or reacted a particular way that you feel it's not right, and they tell you, you know, oh, it's because you're overthinking that thing that you feel it's not possible. Then another thing that drives me crazy that a lot of people do is say I'm sorry. And I think it's one thing that we do in this part of the world. rather than doing the right thing, dealing with the right person or the right way, we would rather say, I'm sorry. So when you realize that you're with someone that is always saying, I'm sorry, believe me, it's not all the time they mean the I'm sorry, right? Then the final thing, I actually had an experience. They tell you that, "Oh, I can't do it with you." I've had, okay, so I had an experience with an uncle who refused. Okay, I think he did only secondary school. Then so he was looking for a job and everything. And suddenly, okay, when he came to our place to talk about the job seeking with my dad, he told my dad that okay, he has BSc, MSc, and everything. That in fact he actually studied abroad. Then when my dad introduced him to someone else that could provide, that could assist, suddenly the man just started talking about it that I wanted to get a job. I wanted to further my education. I beg your pardon, but because my wife got pregnant, so he did not. So they would always blame people. So these five things, I've actually seen people say things like that, and that is a trait. That is what someone that is narcissistic would always say. Those five things, I know that for sure that they say it. So for you listening, you want to be careful with people who would always say distance. Yeah. So Nkechi, you can go on.
Okay. Um, I think this topic made me to have an experience this week. Um, a guy that comes to buy stuff in my store, I hear my girls, they always talk about this particular person, but I haven't had direct contact with him. So it happened to be that owing me, someone that had to pay me some certain amount of money came to the store, and I saw him. I approached him. I was so happy to like see him. I hadn't seen him in a while. So I was just hailing him. But meanwhile, this guy was in the store. He wanted to buy something. Okay, this personality is a religious person, is one of my reverend father. So he came into and I'm like, okay, NK, how much am I owing you? I told him the amount, and I was like, oh, how was your journey? When did you come back? What did you get back? And blah 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 blah. The next thing, the guy just turned towards me. I wasn't talking to him because I already know they've already told me like a bit of him, so I always keep my distance from him. So the guy just turned towards me and was like, "You don't do that to a reverend father." I turned and I
Wow.
looked at the guy. Yeah, I turned and I looked at the guy. I was like, okay. So I ignored him. We continued our chatting. So the grandfather wanted to pick up something else. And he was asking me how much is this? They tell me the one that the cheapest, blah blah blah. The next thing, for us to notice him again, he just told the father that don't worry, pick anything you want, I'll pay. So my father sat down, was asking for oil perfume and all that. I said, yes, I have it. So I brought out the oil perfume and we both sat down trying to sort out the different fragrance so he would choose. So for him, me sitting down with a father was an abomination.
Hmm.
So after the father picked up what he wanted, he was like, how much? I told him the price. For me to approach the guy to get the money, he just said, no, he's not going to pay me the money. He's not going to give me the money, and called my girl and gave my girl the money. At that point, I was already getting irritated. And the father knew I was irritated. He just turned towards me. I was like, Enki, let it go. I said, okay, no problem. My girl gave me the money. So I had to give him the 500 naira change, which I gave to my girl, and my girl gave it to him. That was like 2 days ago. So yesterday he came back because this guy is a frequent caller in the store. He always comes every day, like 6, 7 times a day. So he came and I was on my own because I was on my own side, like my part where I stay. He now approached me and he was like, I'm sorry for what I did yesterday. I just said, oh no, it's fine. He said, why are you pushing? Why you bringing me down? Why are you pushing me away? I turned towards him. I said, you just apologized, and I said it's fine. He said, no, I didn't give him audience. I just pushed him away. I just turned him down. I was staring at him. When he finished, I said, how did that make you feel? He said, you made me feel like I'm a nobody. I said, oh, really? That was how you also made me feel. You're testing the bitter pill, and it's very bitter, and you cannot swallow it. I was like, hey, no, you don't talk to people. I said, oh, really? But you talk to people in a very terrible manner. And we're going back and front, back and front, back and front. I told him, you know what? I think I kind of realized you're kind of person. You always try to put people in a very terrible state just to feel that you're very powerful. You bring people down just to feel you're powerful. And when you get the same, you don't feel good about it. And he was like, no, I'm over exaggerating. I'm overreacting. I said, who are you to measure the way I react? So I knew where he was coming from, but I kept on staying on my lane, telling myself, "Oh, yeah, I'm right. Like I'm sane." So I had a first-hand experience yesterday because these people, they'll make you feel like you're crazy, you're overreacting, like you're not normal, but they are normal. So I had to throw it back to him and I told him I feel okay. After apology, he offered to buy me something. And I heard that is the routine he had been doing to my girls. Like he will come, maybe say something nasty to them, and later he comes to say, oh, I'm sorry. Can I buy you lunch? Can I do this? Can I do that? So I told all my girls, like, I think from now henceforth, we need to cut a boundary. Nobody should chat with this guy. If he comes, if you want to pick up anything, he picks it and go. No other comfort. Like if he gets you stuff, can you kindly say no, thank you? So I had first-hand experience with this kind of people yesterday. In fact, since 2 days ago. So I can tell you that, oh, if you're married to such a person, my dear, it's a whole lot for me. It's a whole lot. So I don't know. Kemi, you want to say something? Kemi.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, one way or the other, I think that is why it's important you're able to identify. So you're able to identify a narcissistic person immediately you see them, because one way or the other, you find out that they are everywhere. Consciously
They
or
are.
unconsciously, we adapt to them without knowing. So one of the ways of dealing with someone with such a personality is educating yourself, because definitely there are things they do before they begin to manipulate you. So immediately you notice someone like that, you need to know what to do, you need to know where you stand. So it's important everybody educates themselves even before you meet someone that is showing such traits and everything. You need to educate yourself. That is one way of dealing with such a person. Understanding, educating yourself, so immediately you see them, you know.
Okay, now you're saying educate yourself. Now we're talking about somebody who is into um a partnership with them in marriage. So obviously, probably people that find themselves there, they were not properly educated
Yeah.
about this personality traits before they got married to this person. So the question is there hope for this person? What advice do you think is ideal to give to such people?
Okay, so one of the things is the easiest way to deal with such a person is actually walking away. And the sad thing about it is when you don't walk away, as soon as such a person is done with you, the person wants to walk away. Do you understand? Because they make you feel like you're not good enough. They use what they say they like about you against you. So suddenly you're feeling insecure, you have low self-esteem, and before you know it, they want to walk away. But because of where we are, because of our culture and every other thing,
Mm-hmm.
nobody would want to walk away. So the thing you need
Obviously.
to do is, like I said again, educate yourself, know the ways to deal with such a person. Because you know that someone who has such trait or such personality likes to be celebrated. So what you need to do is celebrate the person all the time,
Okay.
even if it does not go well with what you want. So it's either you walk away or you accept to do these things with him, you celebrate him. Then another thing is you need to calm down always. You need, even if you don't want something, even if you cannot accept something, you need to um, calm down because they can be verbally aggressive. So you need to calm down whenever you're dealing with them. But I wouldn't advise such, especially when you're isolated, I wouldn't advise you to speak up for yourself immediately you're dealing directly with the person. But it's good you speak up, which one way or the other, it might still end up with you walking away or accepting that person the way the person is. Okay, why you're about talking, then another thing is you need to set boundaries. But I really don't know if setting boundaries in marriage work, because when it comes to relationship, yes, you can set boundaries. Okay, this is what I want, this is my feelings. But such people, it is always difficult for them to respect your space, for them to respect you as an individual, because they feel everything about them is perfect. So if you want to set your boundaries, you need to know where and when to set the boundaries. But that is actually one way to deal with them, setting your boundaries.
Okay. Are you done? Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. You just made a very good and positive comment now. For me, I think the beginning, the start of because we're saying if there's hope for such a relationship or a marriage. And after last week section, I had a conversation with an elderly man, and he just used a phrase. He said, "If humans are positive, there is hope." And I said, no, I was going to say it today because it was a nugget, a very powerful nugget. He said, if humans are positive, there is hope. So, where does the positivity come from? Does it come from the narcissistic spouse or it come from the other spouse? So, I think one way out is if you're a victim of this personality if you're a victim of this personality, it's important to first of all you sit down and ask yourself some very, very deep and frank conversation questions. Are you staying? I know you say and Kemi that from because we are from this part of the world, our culture and all that don't promote separation. But the truth of the matter is this: we're having cases of separation Divorce cases is on the rise, but nobody wants to be separated from their spouse when they got married to them, because I know that marriage is something that it's obviously everybody wants marriage for till death do us part. It's just maybe during the time, during the ride and the journey, you find out that, oh no, you can't be with this person. You don't longer want to be with this person, and you see a period of what separation, or they get divorced. Or for you, for a spouse with this that had suffered in the hands of this kind of a person, I think the first thing to do is to have a very deep conversation with yourself. Ask yourself frank questions. Is this person worth it? Or you first of all, before you ask, yeah, is this person worth it? Then you also ask yourself the question, what do I want for myself? Yeah, you said better education. True, you educate yourself better to manage them, how to do. You need to check yourself if you're capable enough to be able to handle it. You will check if um, temporary separation would be a better option. Maybe a place where you go and you tell the person you need help. When you're healed, fine, we can come. I also need help at this, because at that point the person must have gone through a whole lot. They're low self-esteem, they always doubt themselves if they are normal or if they're doing what is right, or am I a terrible person? Because at that point you already made believe that you're a nobody, you're a terrible person, you can't make it. So at that point, it's important for this person to have a time where they find themselves back. You need to find yourself back, because if you don't find yourself, you can't help somebody, or you can't even manage with them. So you need to get back to yourself, be around people that are your like support system. You build a support family, a support community, support system as a community, people that you can always fall back to, people who can always listen to you, people who have empathy also to tell you, oh, you're doing so well, you're doing so well, people to encourage you and pick you up from the low where you are and take you back where you're supposed to be. First things first, when you get that intact, when you found yourself, then you can now ask, do I think I still want to be with this person, or I don't want to be with this person? And your question, your answer, if you answer yourself, you need to also check your answer. Why why am I answering this? Is it because of my belief? Is it because of religion? Is it because you have to check if you're doing that to please people, or you're doing that from a genuine place? Because at that point you already know your strength, like you don't, you already know what you can take and what you cannot take, because
Cannot
truly there are
say.
some people that it's not safe for you to be around them. Maybe at some point you need to be separated from them. Then if they truly love you, because some of them, like, once you leave, you see them, they want to come back, they come back bombarding you with love, they love you and all that. So at that point when they come back to tell you how much they love you, how much they want you, you cannot say, yes, I know you love me, but you're not, you need help. So if you want me back, can you surrender to getting help? So if you get a spouse that say, yes, I want help because I want you, then that's a green light. That's a green light. But when the person keeps saying that, oh no, I don't have a problem, you have a problem, then I don't think at that point is secured enough for you to either go back. Maybe you stay from the distance and keep on showing that person love, but in your heart you really want to be back with that person. That's my own kind of sincere, sincere advice, especially when it's on the extreme. If it's somebody that you can really manage, like you said, oh, you want to be celebrated, you keep celebrating them and all that. some you will even celebrate them. At some point, they turn and say, "Why are you celebrating me? Are you lying to me?" Blah blah blah. They can always turn the table around because I'm telling you, the guy that came to my store, and in fact, he still came back again today. I can tell you that this thing is real. 1 minute he's talking to you in a friendly manner, the next minute he's bringing you down very low. He brings you very low. So I had to stay put. I'm like, oh, MK, this is the proper thing to do. I had to understand his kind of person because I studied his pattern, I studied his style. He like 4 of my girls had almost the same experience with him. In fact, by the time I came to the office today, they already told me one had a serious fallout with him, and this was like uh, his uh, his one of his favorites. And I was like, this is what I tell you guys about this. Like, I know this guy is not feeling fine. He needs help, but he doesn't know that he needs help. He keeps on saying that there's nothing that, uh, oh, there was one he told me that I should say it verbally that I've forgiven him. I said, must you force me to forgive you? I must you force me to forgive you? I told him earlier, oh no, okay, it's fine, I'm forgiving you. He came back and was insisting that I must verbally tell him that I've forgiven him. That even though I told him I've forgiven him, that he went back and the Holy Spirit told him I'd not forgiven him. I said, hey, yeah, oh, too bad. you know. So it was just a glimpse of what we were actually talking about last week, and I had first-hand experience. Man, these people really need help. They need help. So if you're a spouse and you have a partner like that, if you can opt for separation for you to get back yourself, find yourself back before you render whatever kind of help you want to render to this person, I'll tell you to pick that as an option. ASAP, don't waste time. Because living in the same house or under the same roof, except if it's not on the extreme, if it's something that you can manage, fine. But if not, man, for a while, you need to separate yourself from this person, get back to yourself. And if you're a religious person, if you want to pray to God, understand what He wants you to do, fine, it's good. Yeah, that's my take though.
One way they
Hey,
manipulate
Jiro,
people. They oh
it's good to see
Hi,
you here.
NK. Good to see you guys too. It's been wonderful just
Yeah.
listening
Oh,
and
Kemi.
that is
some
one way.
truth from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, okay. For the fact that it said that I want you to tell me you've forgiven me. That is actually
Yes.
one way of manipulating people. They make you look like you're
Yeah.
Obviously.
special. They make it look like without you, I can't go on. That
No,
is actually
no,
a
what he
way.
wants, what he wants is to be in control and to feel
That's
very
what I'm
powerful.
saying. That is
Yes.
what I'm saying, making you
It's
feel
not
like
just
this is the
manipulating. He just wants to be powerful. He just wants to show his power. Do you know he came today to get something? And at the point he told me that um money makes somebody to bow. I'm like, money? Like I would bow to money. I told him I can't bow to money. How much he came back to buy oil perfume also. You know, he just comes in for every single reason. He comes to the every single reason he comes, anything. And this is he just wants to exercise his power. I'm like, money cannot make me bad. He said money will make you bad. Share I'm buying something for you. What you put in your store is for people to buy until they buy before you sell. I'm like, but money cannot make me bad. He said you're buying to me now. Oh, at some I wanted to walk him out of my store. Yeah, I'm not joking. But a friend of mine was around. He's also a guy, so he just picked it up from there and took up the conversation from me, and told the and they started chatting the way men chat. Even after paying for it, he 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 changed his mind later. He said, "Oh, he doesn't even want the oil perfume again. That he was offering to give it to my friend." And my friend said, no, I don't need oil perfume. He said, if you don't take it, I'll break it here. I said, if you want to break it, go out of my store and break it. You don't break it inside my store. They had to like pet him and, really just like what you say, pet him or praise him. Ah, yes, you're right, blah, blah, blah. Before he does told my friend, oh, it's because of you. And he initially asked me to get him a bag so I can put the oil perfume. So I was even trying to get the bag. So when I wanted to give it, he said he doesn't need it. He's okay like that. And he left. I was still talking to my friend. I told my friend that, you see, this guy is going to come back here. Before you count up to 50, he's going to come back. The guy came back. And when he came back, you know what he said? He said, you're my friend now. I'm like, I just
And
looked at him and I kept quiet.
and if you don't read, if you can't, if you don't, that's what I'm talking about, educating yourself. Because if you don't know all these things, you'll be confused.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You
But
want
now we're
to,
talking
yes,
about
because
people that were not better educated, but they're into this marriage, into a union with this kind of person. At that point, even me, I was almost, if not because I knew about this, and if I was when we were talking yesterday, I said, oh no, I know you're coming, you want to manipulate me, you want to gaslight me. The guy looked at me and like, what was gaslighting? I said, Google it and find out what it is. It won't work here. You can't put me under your control. No, it's not gonna work. You can't tell me to tell you that I've forgiven you verbally. I will say that when I want to say, and I will do whatever I want to do. So Kemi,
that is
my dear.
why I'm always against people saying, okay, you know what, that person will change. When I maybe probably when I give birth, when I have children for him or her, that person will change. When I like, I really don't know why people do that, because such people, they before they change, you're already frustrated, you're almost gone.
These
Except
people,
if
they
they
are
are
well, they are
willingly,
very calculative. They know the
yeah,
next step they will take. They plan very well. They will plan to bring, in fact, I don't know if it has entered their blood. If I didn't have experience, I would just be saying this from a point of maybe I'm a novice, uh, maybe because of what I've read, how exposed I am, blah. I can just be saying, but I had experience over this week. I don't know, maybe God just brought it so that I would be able to understand what this is. Yes, it's deeper. It's deeper. I
yeah.
don't know if it's in this. I don't know if they have to drain their whole blood or their brain. They have to change it. I really don't know.
Definitely
Okay.
this,
Okay.
Can I say
Okay.
something? Can I say
yes,
Yes,
please.
something?
you.
NK, I think you are getting emotional. You are getting
Uh,
emotional about it, and professionals, you will always front as professionals and keep the emotions aside. So
all
talking
right.
about
Okay.
draining their blood, remember it's a disorder. You
I get
understand?
you.
You
Mm-hmm.
must remember it's a disorder. And even to those listening, whether they are narcissists or they are married to narcissists, I think everyone should remember that it is a disorder, and what is most needed is the way out. So I like your approach to separation and seeking help. I also know that at times when you confront them, when they go back, they feel beaten down. They
Yes.
feel like
Yes.
they have
True.
lost. So
Yes.
at that
True. Very
point,
true.
yes, at that point where they feel they are lost, they feel that they are now vulnerable, you can now, you will now be in control, but it may not last for too long. And so there are some of them that even when there is a separation, which is very important, when there is a separation, at some point in time, they realize that I have lost this person, and I've lost this person, and I can't just let this person get out of my life, because one of the things they do is that they feed on their prey, which is their victims. Let me use the word, their victims, and those that are under them. They feed on them. I used to have a boss that is like that. So
Mm.
training has opened my eyes now, so I know better why he's like that. So when everywhere is just so calm, it's kind of restless, there has to be something going
Action. There must be
on.
action.
I must be in control and all of that. And it's so difficult when you are working under someone like that. You are
Yeah.
forever marginalized.
True.
So for
True.
me, I know our time is almost up now. For me, narcissistic disorder has two approaches. It cannot be cured. That's what scientists have said. It cannot be cured, but
It
it
can
can
be
be
helped.
managed
Yeah.
through treatment. And so, who do they have to meet? Because we are also here as professional counselors to let people know that these are the kind of things we do. So, for someone that has been damaged by a narcissist, the person will need psychotherapy to get his or herself back, or talk therapy, which is basically what we do. A narcissist will also need psychotherapy, specifically talk therapy. So most times it is better when there is a separation and the person gets to that point when the person has realized that I have lost what I love so much, and I am now humble enough to realize that I truly need help. Then at that point, the person can submit his or herself
Mm-hmm.
for management. But there are some extreme cases too where a psychiatrist can also help, because there is an extent where the disorder gets to, the person may now need medication.
Psychiatry. Yeah.
Yes, you will need a
Yeah.
medication from a psychiatrist, but that is often the end of the
Last
spectrum.
resort.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's last resort. So most times, even the psychiatrist may refer them back to counselors for talk therapy. So you take them through the whole process. It could take a very long time,
A
but if
lifetime.
the person, yeah, if the person is willing to change, then the person can get to that point where you work on the mind and there is a level of consciousness when some of these things are coming up again. There are you can teach the person to understand the person's triggers and all of that. Let me not give how they are treated here, but my point is we are here to just let um people with the disorder and people that are being punished as a result of the disorder, that spouses, to know that the way out is to meet a professional counselor, because your friend can just advise you, worship him forever. You worship him forever, you can just go and jump into the lagoon one day, because at some point in time you will suffer frustration and a loss of yourself, so you could end up dying. I just remembered as NK was talking about a woman that we lost to suicide about 3 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I could figure now that the spouse had some of those things. So she has lived
Mm.
with him for years and has been unable to help him or help herself, and she has been so diminished, so demeaned, and she got to a point where she had to commit suicide. So that is one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that their spouses can suffer. So instead of you go through that, why not seek a professional mental health counselor, can help you get out of this trouble, whether you are a spouse to the narcissist or you are the narcissist, him or herself. A professional mental health counselor can walk you to a reasonable extent out of this disorder. So that is
Okay.
just my
Yeah.
point.
For me, I believe in choice because everything you do has its consequence. If
Yeah,
you're the yes, because if you tell someone that okay, you need to separate, there are some people that don't understand what
yeah,
separation entails.
Exactly.
Sometimes you find out that you've dealt with this narcissistic person for a very long time, that you've adapted, that you're completely damaged without knowing. Because most
Yeah.
of the times you find out that those people would, before they start doing showing the traits and everything, they would first of all make you feel less of who you are. They would have damaged you completely before they start manipulating you, they start brainwashing
Yeah.
you. So if you were thinking of separation, then you need to understand that there are consequences, because we're talking about your self-esteem, we're talking about the financial aspects, we're talking about, because you, but you know, one thing I realize is right now you find out that some of those people, or some of those people display such traits, they use their partners, and you find out that their partners are the ones doing everything financially,
Mm.
physically, emotionally. They are completely drained without those people showing a form of appreciation, because they make it look like it is
Yeah.
my right. I've had
Yeah.
a situation whereby this woman was doing virtually everything. And with the fact that she was doing almost everything, the man was not appreciating her a bit. So she, at a point, she would even tell you that to keep her marriage, that she needs to continue like this because she
Yeah.
does not want anybody. So they make them feel like it is their right. So
Yeah.
even if you are thinking of separation, you need to understand that there are consequences. There are times you would be lonely. There are times, so they need to understand where they stand first. So that's why when Nkechi was talking about um, you need to make up your mind yourself. Don't look at it that because of what the society will say, or because you need to look at what works for you as an individual. Then because Ejiro, whether we like it or not, it is a very, very long process for a
Yeah.
narcissist person to want to change, to make
That's
you
why it's a
even look
disorder.
like you're that important to make him or her change. But
Yeah.
if you're not ready
Very
to
true.
separate, if you're not ready to separate, you need to understand that you need to stay calm. You need to educate yourself
Mm-hmm.
so you know when
Mm-hmm.
to appreciate you
Mm-hmm.
know the ways to celebrate that person. And you find out that right now you see some spouses that would make their partners feel embarrass them in public, and at the end of the day, the person that was embarrassed, that will be pleading, that is actually one of the traits. So so if you're going to be in that position, if you want to stay and endure whatever you get, you need to understand that you would need to educate yourself, whether you like it or not. You celebrate that person. Then you need to understand that, but when people talk about isolating setting boundaries, because that is one of the ways, I don't think it's easy for you to set boundaries with your partner when you're dealing with someone like that. I don't think it's easy to set boundaries. So it's just two things: is either you stay
No,
in the
I think
marriage
setting
or you
boundaries
separate.
is achievable.
Okay. Okay. In what way, Nkechi?
No, Kemi, I think setting boundaries is achievable because while you were talking, I just had when we were undergoing training. I think I mentioned, or either with you guys or when I started in my first stage, there was a lady. Right now, I just realized that this is the same thing she suffered. She has 5 kids, and she's just a petty trader. And she was the one that was taking care of the financial everything in the house. Okay, she even gave an instance. There are times that there's no, maybe when she's at the shop selling her food, she sells food stuff and all that. When she's at the store selling, and the kids are with the husband, get to a point that maybe they don't have water, drinking water, and the man will send the children to the mom because it's where you can walk, it's walkable from their house to where she sells is walkable. She will send the man will send the kids to meet her and get money. When they do that, the man will have money to buy beer buy alcohol, or buy cigarettes. She said when things became difficult, there was a time he traveled to the village. She can cook a derica of rice for all of them to eat. But when the man came, she had to start cooking like two derica. And at that point, sef, it wasn't enough because he eats like a boss. You get. So she went through a lot. Yes, she went through a lot. So when she came to me, like when you're saying separation, is it attainable? She should check what kind of separation does she want. So when she came to me, then I didn't have like a professional knowledge. I won't lie, because I think that was the beginning of my journey on professional counseling. So it was just on my own little knowledge I had. And I told her, look, do you want separation? She said at this point she wants separation. I said, you check. Is this something that can be temporal or is this something that can be permanent? If it's temporal, these are the measures you can take. Check. What are the measures can you use for the temporal separation? He listed it out. I said for permanent separation, what are the measures do you think you can use? She listed it. I said, okay, now if you want permanent separation, can you take care of this your 5 kids? She said she
Hmm.
had been the one running the home. I said, okay, I get you. But the luck she had, that's why I said also develop good support system. She had good
Yeah.
support system from friends and family. So they were able to, and that's why I said, be around people that have empathy. Do you know, at some point they
Yeah.
threw her out of the house, but people gathered and rallied. Someone took her in with her kids. At some point, we had to raise money for her to pay her rent. This man abandoned her and her kids in the village for more than 4 months. After she heard that they had a home, practically 1 week, he came back to Lagos. She
Okay.
came to my house. Yes, she came to my house and she was weeping. Oh, she had gone through this, blah, 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 this and this. So we tried. At that point, she hadn't opted for permanent separation. She was still thinking if it, like she wanted temporal separation. So the man was with her. The man will beat her up. The man will go to market where she sells and calls her all sort of name, that she's a prostitute, that she sleeps around,
Yeah.
that is her boyfriend, that are footing her bills, and all that, So she came and said, I don't think I want a temporal separation. I said, are you serious? She said, yes. She said she wants a permanent separation. I said, this man married, and in the Igbo tradition, she said she's ready. She took her time in December, went back home, called her parents, every of her siblings. They had intensive meeting and they resolved to return him back this dowry. They invited the man over, went, returned back the man's dowry, and warned him, went to his chief and all the elders and told him that they don't need him around the lady again, because at that point he wasn't safe with them. But this man still came back and was coming to harass her. We know why I told you is achievable. She had to go to the law. She had to go to human rights, and she registered her case. They invited the man, and the man got the message very clear. Right now, the man is away. He doesn't come to the house. If he wants to speak to his children, yes, they have a small phone. You can talk to them. He doesn't have contact with her because, she is the one running the whole home. So the only thing is just for her to pray, to be comfortable enough to take care of her kids. But at this, I saw her after that. I saw her like 5 months or 3 months later. She was looking too young. She was beautiful. I was like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
do you have this kind of beauty in you? Do you have this kind of beauty in you? She said,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
She
this
said, oh
one,
yes, that she
okay.
have peace and rest of mind. Yeah.
But okay, this one you're talking about is
Go on.
because financially she was actually capable. She has
Very
been the
true.
one
She
taking care
wasn't.
of
No, I'm not
this
saying.
response.
I'm not saying she's total. No. Don't, did you hear what I said? I said even when her rent,
Yeah.
when she didn't have rent, she had people
Yes.
around her that
Yeah.
showed
People.
her
Support.
empathy.
So
Yes,
yes,
but I will tell you
NK,
that
what I'm
even now
saying
she's still struggling.
is, NK,
Of
do you know
She's
course.
what
still
you're
struggling.
saying?
But
Yes, thank you. I
going back
understand.
to that man is not an option for her.
Yes. Okay, I understand where you're coming from, but do you know that there are some people right now who cannot do anything at all until their partner is there? Can't
Yeah.
even make decisions until
Yes.
their partner is there.
Yeah.
Financially, physically, emotionally, intellectually, like they
Yeah.
can't. There are some
Yeah.
people like that.
Very true.
This person you're
Very
talking
true.
about, she has been probably she was not completely
Yes.
capable, but she had tried
Yeah.
those things.
But
She was doing
in the
one or two
process of
things.
you getting help, Kemi, in the process of you getting help, getting back yourself, you will tell yourself that as old as you are, you need to be capable of certain things. You become
Very
responsible
true.
for yourself. You begin
Yeah,
to think
that is the
properly
word.
for yourself. You no longer lean on this person. You no longer lean on this one. So I think at that point you can tell yourself that, oh, I thought I believed I couldn't do anything, but I am enough
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I can do things myself.
Yeah.
That's the change. That's the change.
You see, that's why I said that for those that even want to live or cope, see how you spoke to that woman, you opened her eyes. I like the fact that
Yes.
we don't give solutions as counselors, we guide you to solutions that can work for you. You do the work yourself.
Mhm.
I like the way you made her see, if you are taking a temporary decision, what would a temporary separation, what are your options? If you are taking a permanent separation, what are your options? That was a very excellent one. So nobody comes back to say it is NK that told me to leave him.
Exactly.
There is
Exactly.
nothing like that. She has come to a place of self-awareness and self-realization, and now she can
True.
stand bold and take her decision without fear of anything. See, some of these people, another strategy they use to is to financially
Make you handicapped.
disenable their spouses.
Yeah.
So
True.
you become
True.
financially incapacitated. Somebody said, in my premarital counseling now, there is one condition I give. If the both of you are not working, please don't hold on and don't get into marriage. Yes, because we realize something from research that most of the women that suffer from domestic violence can't leave because they are financially incapacitated. Most of the women
True.
cannot leave. So you hear them telling you, I don't even have transport fare to
Mm.
leave from this place back to my family. As small
Mm.
as even 2,000 naira, they don't have. There was one
Mm.
that I knew one time. She started planning to save feeding money. She wasn't even planning to save feeding money. She got it here. She got it to her neck. So she
Mm.
decided that when the man gives her feeding money at the end of the month, she was going to bear all the suffering and everything till the next month end. Once he gives her feeding money at the end of the month, she will move. And you can imagine
Mhm.
she's coming from a very far state. She doesn't have 1 naira
Mm.
of her own. So that was not her plan. That was the only way she could get money. That was the only way.
Mm.
He doesn't give her. See, the man will go and buy food stuff and drop in the house
That is
and
the
ask her,
trait.
so what? Yes, he will buy meat, buy fish, buy everything. Okay, what do we need? Say we need vegetable, take 500. We need tomato. Okay, what quantity of it? Was that bad? She was financially
Mm.
incapacitated. So most times, some of these things they show up after marriage. So for me, if you are a
Mhm.
single, please get financial capacity before you hook up with anybody, and don't get
Mhm.
fooled, because narcissists, research has also shown that most narcissists are male. And so for the ladies, don't get fooled
That's
when
yeah.
somebody tells you stop working now that you are married. I
Mm.
don't want you to work again, because that's another phase. They tell you, I don't want you to work, I just want you to stay at home. I saw a woman
I
last
think
month. I went to a
Ejiro,
salon.
Ejiro,
Okay.
please, when it
Yeah.
comes to don't stop working, I think it's about agreements, right? That is why Nkechi was talking about setting boundaries. That is creating boundaries
Kemi,
that
it is,
is
I don't agree
realistic.
with you that it's about
It's
agreement. Some
about
of these people
agreement.
are
Yes,
forced
but it
not
is not
to.
every time. It is not every time you see someone. There are things that would work for you that might not work for the other person. There are
No,
people who have actually,
we're narrowing down to narcissists,
yeah,
narcissistic marriages. That's what we're
yeah.
narrowing down to. I've seen, okay, I was about saying something before you caught me. I went to a salon 2 months ago, and I met a lady that said she was supplying eggs, and she was almost crying because the woman that the owner of the salon is her confidant. And so she came to share with the woman again that the man has told her to even stop selling the eggs. Now, this is somebody that
Mm-hmm.
has a BSc,
Mm-hmm.
that was working
Mm.
before marriage. And suddenly after marriage, he said, I'm no longer comfortable with you working. What are your reasons? He said, nothing. He just wants to be the Lord. He wants to be the boss. He wants to be the one that calls off the shots. He wants to be the one that says, drink tea is when I want you to take tea, you will take tea. It's once I want you to eat rice, you will take rice. So the woman, after upon her life, she wanted to keep her. After a while, she had to start selling eggs because if you see her, you won't believe that lady even finished secondary school. Looking very funny, not presentable at all. So she started getting eggs from a poultry to sell to make some small money. And now she has done this with fight and everything. It's already a year now. The man has seen that she cannot go to salon and retouch her hair. She can now buy sandals for her children. Not like she has big money. Oh. He's not comfortable again. Now he has started that she should stop selling the egg and sit at home. He wants to grind her totally. And that's one of the characteristics of these people. So in her case, it's not a bad choice. She has been so
It's taking away
demeaned.
her power.
Yes,
He's
it's
taking
taking
away
away
her
her
power.
financial power.
He doesn't
Yes.
want her to have
So now
power. Yeah.
she's saying, I will never stop selling this egg. Whatever will happen, let it happen. She wasn't talking to me, so I didn't know how to just intrude and just come in. I would have come in to let her know that you
You're
have a
minding your
right to
business.
live as a person. That is why one of the things I promote
Oh,
these days is
Ejiro, this is a
self-awareness.
very hot conversation, but there's no time. We have
Feeling
to
like this,
go.
No
exactly,
time. Yeah.
exactly.
We have
So
to
for
go.
I
my
wonder
So
last
I
I
wonder
word
want
is,
us to
how we
talk.
will not go emotional. Enki, I told you not to be emotional about it, and I just realized that I'm getting emotional now.
You too.
God help us.
You see? Amen.
okay, so thank you so much for every one of you that is part of this gist. Thank you so much. We are leaving, and but for
Mm.
me, the last note is please just make sure you put yourself first and understand the consequences before you
Yes.
make whatever decision you want to make. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, for me,
Okay.